Chapter 8, Lessons Learned, Part 5. When I was with my ex-partner, I didn't even know what a narcissist was, but I sure do now. He wasn't the only one. The third party, the coven, and other dark magic practitioners deceived me with their spiritual attacks against my life too. The Holy Bible tells us that amongst God's people, we are all God's people, there are wolves that wear sheep's clothing. A person disguises their heartless nature or evil intent behind an outward show of innocence to deceive. I think one of the reasons we don't see evil is because we find it so difficult to believe that evil individuals actually exist. We can't imagine someone deceiving us with no conscience, hurting others with no remorse, spinning outrageous fabrications to ruin someone's reputation, or pretending he or she is spiritually committed, yet has no fear of God before his or her eyes. The Bible clearly tells us that among God's people there are wolves that wear sheep's clothing. During the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus says in Matthew chapter 7 verse 15, the Holy Bible, "Watch out for false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ferocious wolves." Jesus was referring to some specific religious teachers in this verse. However, there are people in this world that wear a mask, wolves in sheep clothing, to deceive you for their own selfish reasons. The Holy Bible describes narcissists, who they are, what they do, and how to manage them. Narcissists in the Bible are defined as fools, scoffers, and wicked people. The Bible describes fools as someone who refuses to listen to wisdom or learn from discipline, or a person who has rebelled against God. A fool is not deserving of honor but of discipline. According to the descriptions of the fool throughout Proverbs, he can't be trusted with the simplest tasks, and despite his incompetence, he is wise in his own eyes. He is reckless and he is not teachable. Rather than learning from his mistakes or receiving wisdom, he just does the same foolish things over and over again. A scoffer or mocker is a person who mocks or makes fun of someone or something, often of religion or moral values. In the Holy Bible, a scoffer is described as a person who is arrogant and or haughty, who acts with arrogant pride. A scoffer is described as follows in Proverbs 21, verse 24, the Holy Bible. "The proud and arrogant person, mocker is his name, behaves with insolent fury." The Holy Bible describes wicked people as arrogant and aggressive. Their pride and violence spell disaster for anyone who stands in their way. The trouble they cause flows out of self-importance, their arrogance. Where does this abusive pride come from? For one thing, they forget that the rich and poor were both created by God. We did not make ourselves. We did not choose which family we were born into. and the opportunities we were given. We did not decide how intelligent we would be, how wise we would be, how self-motivated we would be. All this is from God's hand. The writer of Proverbs says, "The rich and the poor meet together. The Lord is the maker of them all." Proverbs 22, verse 2. The wicked man is not only arrogant and proud, he is aggressive and violent. A video presented by Shannen Megji outlines how to deal with narcissists from a biblical perspective. Shannen Megji describes narcissists as arrogant, exploitative, envious, lacking empathy, and are grandiose. They see themselves as superior, as and better than anyone else. They tend to blame, shift, deflect, and not take responsibility for their actions. They can lie, manipulate, gaslight, play the victim, slander, shift, and change like a chameleon based on whoever they are with. They are high conflict and thrive on drama and chaos. According to Shannen in the video, the Holy Bible describes the fool as, "A fool has a disdain for learning and growth." Proverbs 1 verse 7. They are easily provoked and quick to show their irritation. Proverbs 12 verse 16. They believe they are always right and are resistant to advice or correction. Proverbs 12 verse 15. They consider themselves superior in wisdom. Proverbs 26 verse 12. They engage in destructive behavior and negatively influence those around them. Proverbs 13 verse 20. They engage in deceit and slander, causing harm through their words. Proverbs 10 verse 18. They are prone to engaging in and provoking conflict and disputes. Proverbs 20 verse 3. They do not learn from their mistakes and continue to engage in the same foolish behaviors. Proverbs 26 verse 11. They are not interested in gaining understanding, but only in expressing their own opinions. Proverbs 18 verse 12. Their own bad choices bring about their downfall, yet they never look within to own up to it. Instead, they blame shift. Proverbs 19 verse 3. They reject having to give a genuine apology and view reconciliation efforts with contempt. Proverbs 14 verse 9. A malicious person is someone who takes pleasure in the downfall and suffering of others. Most narcissists are not malicious, but simply careless and reckless. There are the malignant types that are both foolish and wicked. Shannen Megji describes 7 pieces of wisdom, 7 golden proverbs, obtained from the Holy Bible to deal with these types of individuals. This wisdom is powerful because it comes from God. First proverb 26 verses 23 to 25. Like a coating of silver dross on earthenware are fervent lips with an evil heart. Enemies disguise themselves with their lips, but in their hearts they harbour deceit. Though their speech is charming, do not believe them, for 7 abominations fill their hearts. Their words can be like a shiny coating, looking good on the surface, but underneath there is something sinister going on. A narcissist can be incredibly charming. They know exactly what to say to pull you in, to make you trust them, or even doubt your own perception. They may say all the right things, but as this proverb warns, their hearts can be filled with deceit. How do you navigate a relationship with someone like this? Trust God, the Holy Spirit, and your instincts if something feels off. Don't be fooled by charming words. Look deeper. Be cautious with your trust and take your time before fully trusting someone. Narcissists hide their true intentions behind charm. Keep your boundaries strong and be clear on what you will accept and won't accept in the relationship to avoid getting caught in deceitful games. Second Proverb 9 verses 7 to 8. Whoever corrects a scoffer gets himself abuse, and he who reproves a wicked man incurs injury. Do not reprove a scoffer, or he will hate you. Reprove a wise man, and he will love you. Proverb 29 verse 9. If a wise man has an argument with a fool, the fool only rages and laughs, and there is no quiet. When dealing with a narcissist or manipulative individual, direct confrontation may lead to negative outcomes, from dismissive laughter all the way to strife, chaos, hostility, or backlash, or being injured. It could be dangerous for you to be taking on a person like this because they can quickly become adversarial. They can villainize you and make your life very difficult. This is not to say that you should walk in fear. Just remember, greater is God who's in you. The key here is, what is God requiring of you in this particular relationship? Is God calling you to fight with this person? Or is God calling you to withdraw maybe? Perhaps get closer to Him and focus on your health and healing. Maybe invest your energy in cultivating and nurturing other relationships and let God confront this person. So, here is some food for thought. Third Proverb 14 verse 7. Leave the presence of a fool, for there you do not meet words of knowledge. Proverb 22 verse 10. Drive out a scoffer, and strife will go out, and quarrelling and abuse will cease. The best way to deal with a narcissist or manipulative person is to disengage or limit interaction, especially when it hinders spiritual growth and peace. Sometimes removing yourself from the presence of a negative influence is necessary for finding peace and ending conflict. This highlights the importance of boundaries and self-protection. Instead of trying to make the relationship work or appease such a person, separating yourself from them is the best course of action, as it can lead to peace and the end of strife and abuse. Fourth Proverb 14 verse 10. One who is wise and cautious and turns away from evil, but a fool is reckless and careless. The proverb emphasizes that wisdom involves caution and discernment, and it contrasts with the perspective of a narcissist, who may view caution as a personal flaw, that you're rigid, or you're lacking in faith, or you're not all in. It highlights the importance of being cautious as a sign of wisdom. Turning away from evil, not having any part of it, is wise. Narcissists are very quick to rush intimacy or rush a commitment. The proverb also highlights the importance that it would be wise to be cautious into committing to any kind of serious relationship or partnership with someone. 5th Proverb 19 verse 3. When a man's folly brings his way to ruin, his heart rages against the Lord. The verse highlights the key characteristic of a narcissist, which is to shift the blame onto others even when they face ruin. Instead of taking responsibility for their actions, they tend to play the victim and blame external forces like God, the devil, or other people. This behavior is pointed out as absurd, emphasizing how narcissists refuse to acknowledge the consequences of their actions. Proverbs 27 verse 22. Crush a fool in mortar with a pestle, along with crushed grain, yet his folly will not depart from him. This proverb describes how deeply ingrained narcissistic behavior is, and how even severe consequences and correction are unlikely to change a narcissist's behavior without genuine heart transformation, which they often resist. 6th Proverbs 12 verse 15. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man listens to advice. Proverb 18 verse 2. A fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion. The Proverbs illustrate how narcissistic individuals have an unwavering belief that they're always right. They often see themselves as infallible and may even dismiss or disdain advice or correction. Their lack of interest in understanding others' perspectives makes it challenging to engage with them constructively, especially when trying to offer guidance, resolve conflicts, or present a different perspective. These proverbs explain why you can end up in a monologue or a one-way conversation or relationship with a narcissist. They're not interested in dialoguing or hearing your perspective, or not curious about your life or interest or feelings. They believe that they are above learning from you or receiving any input from you. They're simply interested in talking and having an audience listen to them. It's important to take this wisdom to heart. Adjust yourself accordingly. Do you really want a relationship with someone who only wants to have a one-way conversation with you for a whole relationship? Is it important for your voice to be heard? For your feelings, your thoughts, and your interests to be considered? 7th Proverbs 12 verse 18. There is one whose rash words are like sword thrusts, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. The proverb discusses how the Bible's description of hurtful words and verbal abuse resonates with those who have experienced narcissistic relationships. The Bible is describing exactly what it feels like. Those cutting words, those sharp, hurtful remarks, they're like being stabbed over and over again. If you've been on the receiving end of a narcissist's cruel words, you know it's not just one comment here or there. It's a relentless assault, and over time, it feels like death by 1,000 cuts. Each little insult, each dig, chips away at your sense of self until you are left feeling completely worn down and bleeding. This isn't just a spiritual metaphor, it is something that science is backing up too. Research shows that verbal abuse, especially when it's repeated, has long-lasting effects on your mental health and also your physical health. It leads to anxiety, depression, and complex post-traumatic stress disorder. It can take a toll on you physically and can cause a whole slew of physical ailments. This proverb also emphasizes the healing power of wise words, especially in the context of overcoming the wounds caused by narcissistic behavior. Surrounding oneself with individuals who speak life, uplift, and encourage is crucial for healing. Additionally, the healing balm of God's words in the Bible is highlighted as the most powerful source of healing, offering love, promises, and plans for the future. It is encouraged to seek healing through God's words. It also emphasizes the importance of guarding your heart and being mindful of the impact of words. It suggests not letting verbal attacks take root in your mind and turning to God's word for healing and truth to counter the effects of verbal abuse. This proverb not only validates what you've gone through, but it also points you towards healing. Remember that words have power, both to wound and to heal. So choose to fill your life with words that bring healing and life. The wisdom in these scriptures isn't just ancient, remember, that it is also alive and still so relevant for what we are facing today, whether it's about setting boundaries or protecting your heart or seeking healing. God's words has so much guidance.